As much as possible, we don't touch the...
Christmas is not just for Christmas.
It's all
I think it is.
I'm done.
Stick a fork in me, I'm cooked.
This could completely change, and then whatever happens is whatever happens.
Into this, she's not an older woman, she's the queen. But
She is the queen.
she is, yeah.
Itty. I'm going to write that book.
That's a clip I'm going to have.
I feel like he gets pigeonholed because he's a man.
At this time of the year, I don't know about you, but we've done a lot of creative things this year so far, and my creativity needs a little bit of rest and recuperation.
We now call this podcast to order.
Where's the effing creativity? Thank you very much. I've been practicing.
It's all very exciting because we're coming together with our favourite people, the Highly Sprung team, for a very festive and very exciting episode of
Where's the effing creativity?
Oh, you can tell he's been listening.
We should, bearing in mind it is a festive thing, I think we should do it in a festive song. So
Okay.
it should be, what's the F, what's the F, what's the effing creativity?
I hate it.
What
but I'll
song
do
was
it.
that, Mark?
It was Jingle Bells.
So I thought it was Bar Bar Black Sheep.
Right, Sarah,
Yes.
we are gathering here and it's like, what the F is, I think for this episode, the F is festive. And actually thinking about how our creativity throughout 2025 has been on show for lots of people. We've engaged with lots of people, but I think the exciting thing is coming together and realising what has been achieved and how creativity has had an impact in the work that we've done, and for the young people that we've been working with and for, and finding out what people's highlights are.
Well, at this time of year, festive for most people is a time of celebration. It's time to be festive, to be merry. So we thought we'd call you all together to find out your festive moments of the year. It doesn't have to. Christmas is not just for Christmas.
It's all
I
year long.
think it is. Maybe creativity is not just for Christmas.
No, creativity is definitely not just for Christmas.
Yeah.
As
But
you
at
all
Christmas
well know.
we can celebrate it. Is what we're trying to say.
It's like a permanent gift.
Out of curiosity, does anyone do anything really festive? Or not festive, does anyone do anything really crestive? Okay, let's get it right. Does anybody
Creative.
do anything creative at Christmas?
No.
Whether it's making... I mean, we have Christmas decorations behind us here.
Handmade Christmas tree.
Does anyone do anything else that's a bit creative?
I always make at least one Christmas present each year.
What has it been this year?
Well, if
Oh,
I say it, the person might
yeah.
find out. I'll say what I did.
Okay, what was the
previous time.
craft? All right, last year.
Well, actually, I've already done one technically this year because I made a Christmas bauble for the tree,
Christmas bauble.
which had the sprung
Embroidery.
Yeah. And last year I made my family different baubles where we had one that had our dog Jackson on it, he's a Springer Spaniel. So I did a little one of him, like the outline of him, and we always say that he's got a really big butt. And I did on the other side of the bauble, I did a really big butt.
Oh,
Like,
Nice.
That's amazing.
I love that also this year we're not allowed to know what the gift is.
Yeah.
We have to wait.
It might come out, and then they might find out what it is.
Oh
It's-
no!
I get that, I appreciate that. Emily?
I take present wrapping really seriously. It's a gift of gifts that my mum has passed down to me. So I get really into wrapping and the bows and the tags, adding little holly leaves on there sometimes. I get really excited about it. So yeah.
I have to be honest, I'm just a marker pen kind of guy.
Yeah.
I just write marker pen on the
I
the
can
present.
relate to that.
Yeah. Sorry, I do apologise. Yeah. Zoe?
I've just made some Christmas crackers with some toilet roll and some tissue paper, and it's quite difficult to find things to put inside a toilet roll. It's quite small.
Snacks.
Scratch card.
I also hear that one of your family members might be lining up to become our new costume designer, having just created your child's nativity costume.
Yes, I go, Mother, I need a costume for my child immediately. And she's made a lovely sheep, my daughter, for her nativity. Yeah.
Gorgeous.
That's brilliant. Sarah, what about you? What creative things do you do at Christmas?
I get forced into creativity at Christmas, where I have to, by pain of death, make a 3D gingerbread house. And I flipping hate it. It's so hard. And it's so hard to make it stand up. And the kids pile it up with so many sweets. Maybe I should buy less sweets. But that's the only reason they want to do it. It's because they sit with all the bowls of sweets, and the sweets go in the mouth, and the sweets go on the gingerbread, and then we try and piece it all together into a semblance of a house. I don't think anyone would ever want to live in that house, though.
I think we should also ask, how old are your kids,
I was
Sarah?
going to say, but it's on the right part.
Well, they're both nearly adults.
Well, one of them definitely is.
Nothing has changed. They will still be forcing me to do the Christmas gingerbread house ritual, and we have to make the gingerbread from scratch. And at this time of the year, I don't know about you, but we've done a lot of creative things this year so far, and my creativity needs a little bit of rest and recuperation.
It's a good sleep.
Pay back
pushes my
the
buttons.
artistic gods. Yeah.
What about you?
I think the most artistic thing I do is the Christmas tree and decorating the Christmas tree.
Nice.
And I often get told off for my decoration.
Right.
Oh, it's someone's arms has crossed.
I didn't know there was a particular way to do Christmas lights, and I started at the top.
Oh,
Okay,
there you are.
No, bottom up.
I know now. Right.
Yeah,
I just
double wrap.
No.
What do you think?
From the bottom
Always.
all the way up, but then you have to
Yeah.
get to the top, to the top,
Yeah.
to the top, and space it down. Don't go back down.
I go
It
back
goes
down.
wrong.
I
What
started
if
at the
you've got
top,
a
man.
really small tree? Like my tree this
My
year
tree's
is really
pretty
small,
small.
and I've got a lot of lights. Got to go up.
Maybe
and then go down.
don't get 100 metres of lights just for a 2-foot tree.
I've had my
I'm
tree
just
for
an
14
optimist.
years, and it's like this. So it needs lots of lights.
Nice.
I'm in the
Anyway,
optimist.
I learnt a lesson the hard way.
Yeah.
I did.
So let's look back at
Let's get
2025.
to the real creativity.
Yeah. And does anyone have any highlights they'd like to share? What was your creative highlight, Colleen?
I would say one of my biggest highlights of this year was when myself and another associate artist, Dan, went to the think tank in Birmingham, and we were dressed as our walkabout the Roswells, which is a family of aliens who have come to Earth for a holiday. And it was just so much fun because we got to go around the museum and we just got to play all day, and the kids and the parents and everyone who was there loved it, and the workers were there and they were great, and it was just so much fun. And me and Dan just got to kind of go and do whatever we wanted. So we'd like go and stand in things, or like put costumes on, like over our alien costumes and all this sort of stuff. And I mean, it was met with mixed reviews from the kids, because obviously I think these giant alien heads coming at them to begin with was a bit like, ugh. But everyone seemed to really enjoy it, and it was so much fun. And I really, really loved that. And that was probably, if I look back on this year, that's a highlight of mine.
And you get to play Mrs. Alien, who has a little bit of a kleptomaniac problem with her.
She just loves to steal things.
I love those videos.
Yeah, and it's just so much fun because you just go around, and I've got a little handbag, and I just try and see how much stuff I can fit into this handbag before getting told off by someone. And you know what? I've got a lot of stuff in that bag.
Just give it all back.
And look, you kind of had to, but you do it in character where you're like, oh. And you give it back. But inside, I'm like.
Did you ever steal anything that felt like quite important to someone, like their car keys?
There was moments where people would hand me things like their phones and stuff to show me photos, and I'd be like, oh, amazing, great. And the amount of adults and even kids who'd be like, no, Mrs. Alien, no! And I'd have to then turn around and go, oh no, and hand it back. But I always got a little bit of a laugh out of that.
That's quite a weird kind of sort of side quest of that creativity journey, isn't it? If you think about it, you know, you're dressing up as an alien.
Yeah.
No one can see your face, and
Can't breathe.
yeah,
Sweating.
yeah, really sweaty.
And Dan's a bold man.
Yeah.
Sweat everywhere.
But the idea of it is creative, it's imaginative, but it's almost going under the radar, which is quite nice. That's what I think is really, really special about the Roswells.
Yeah.
That they kind of, they're not in your face. You can interact with them or not, or you can just leave them, but there is some form of artistry going on there.
That kind of improv is the most creative.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, because at the end of the day, they are aliens who have come to Earth. So everything that we know as humans to them is completely unknown. So they have no idea how anything works. So it's kind of, you have to get yourself into that creative mindset of going, you've just got to pretend that you have no idea what
Yeah.
anything does or is, and you just got to do it. And
That must be quite freeing.
Oh,
Yeah, freeing.
freeing. Yeah, it really is.
That's your effing creativity. No. I was going to say there is actually a really good reel, if anyone is interested, where you can see Mrs. Roswell at work on the Instagram reels. So you can see all the things that went into her handbag.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot of fun.
Emily,
Yes.
what was your creative highlight throughout the year?
I mean, there were so many things. I was trying to consider all of them, and there were so many. But I think it was throwing back to May time and creating simile, because I think the creation process for that was something that was quite new to us, in that we co-created it with our group of young people. And working with them, and then working with you as a writer, Mark, but also with Jasmine Gardosi, was just the most amazing thing, because we always create together. I think we're really used to that as a team, but adding those extra elements, it expanded the process, and it meant there were so many more things to consider and bring into the room, and also to be able to be creative from. There was so many more springboards that were available to us to work with, and I haven't worked like that in that way before, and I really, really enjoyed it, and creating that character of Fee through the eyes of young people who are telling me, actually, she wouldn't hold her phone like that, and actually, really what she'd be doing is this, and it really helped me to flesh out what I hope is a much more real character that I think a lot of them felt like they could relate to, and also maybe have seen in their own social groups. But I think that I couldn't have got to that place as a performer without all that other input, and also performing to their poetry that they created with you and Jasmine was just amazing.
Yeah.
So I think for me that was a real highlight of the year.
And they also got a lot of input into the costume design, right?
Yeah, they did. I know,
make
I
sure
was
that
so
was-
pink.
Emily nearly got lost in the background. But it was a really interesting conversation to have with young people as consultants, to be like, well, what would somebody who's like Fee wear? And they were quite specific, weren't
The
they?
socks were a big deal. The kind
We
of
got the wrong socks to
We
begin
did,
with.
Yeah, they weren't going to go ahead.
No.
Those socks were no. I had to get different socks. But yeah, no, it was very specific. But I think it really did help with the authenticity of it all, and there was a depth in it that I found really exciting creatively. So.
And that poem that Emily mentioned was called Show Your Face, and was created in collaboration with our group of co-creatives, 6 young people who came together to help us make the piece of work, and Mark and the amazing poet, spoken word artist Jasmine Gardosi. And what was really powerful about it is that it started from a conversation about the role of the young kind of adolescent male in society, and particularly picked up on some of the themes within simile about the diminishing kind of role of young men, and our young male character is given a really bad rep in the show. I don't know if you want to say anything about what happens to our lovely character. I can't even remember his name. Oh my god, Sam. I was like, who is he?
I was keeping quiet. I completely forgot.
Did you? But they knew. They knew.
Yeah. I feel like he gets pigeonholed because he's a man, and I think he finds it really hard in himself to know how to express himself truly as a man, and I think that means that the other characters undermine him, and they undermine his emotional intelligence, and he has that moment of kind of a moment of explosion, or almost, where it's a really quiet internal explosion. He doesn't even get to say it to them really, and it's that frustration that where the masculine meets the emotional and finds it really hard to find the truth in that and to be able to express it. And I think that moment when you created that together as a team, that poem, I think that was a moment where the course of what the narrative of the play was really started to veer into a different direction, because we started it considering it being very specifically about the poetry anthology, which it was, and was started from there, but I think it became about the teenage experience of being in 2025 and dealing with all the struggles and specifically masculinity because of that poem. I think that was a really exciting juncture.
It is something that I think is going to, I mean, it's been very, very widely reported in 25, and I think it's going to be even more reported on as we move forwards, this idea of masculinity, what it is for our young men to be young men, and how we treat other people. particularly women, and how we sort of society and the fabric of society feels like it's been ripped apart for a long time, and young men are finding it the hardest to then try and find their way around it. And even within that piece, everyone thinks that he's the bad guy. He's the bad guy, or he's not got his life sorted. But actually, there's a few of the characters who've not got their life sorted, and they don't understand, because that's what it is to be a teenager.
Absolutely, yeah.
And a human.
Yeah.
I think
Do you not have it all sorted out by now?
Yeah, what I'm talking about. I'm done. Reformed. Okay.
Stick a fork in me. I'm cooked.
Like a Christmas turkey.
Said the vegetarian.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I love that project. I love the fact that the young people wrote that piece, and we spoke to Lottie recently about her experience of writing it, and she found it so hard to put pen to paper and to have it. But actually, what she wrote was absolutely gold. This idea of what she thought a boy should be, but also what she thought a boy thought. What it should be to be a boy, and it was really interesting within that as well. It unwrapped a lot of some really, really serious things, and that's the beauty of creativity, right? That you can delve into those really, really deep conversations, as well as making Christmas crackers or things like that, and being really sort of light.
The versatility of creativity.
Yeah.
Itty.
I'm going to write that book.
That's a clip I'm going to have.
That's the title of my new book. Itty.
Zoe, now you, within Highly Sprung, you are in charge of our governance and...
You said that with a big G.
I know.
Governance.
The governess.
Yes.
She is the governess.
Yes.
New job title.
And so you don't necessarily get out there, and you're not sort of front facing. You are part of that machinery that we have, that brilliant machinery that we have within the organisation.
AKA the lifeboat.
The lifeboat.
Yeah. But so your idea of sort of your highlight might be different, but what is your highlight of the year so far?
Well, no, actually, I was going to come at it from a creativity as an audience member, because I think one of the highlights of my year is the physical fellowship.
Nice.
And getting to come in and be in the theatre and seeing the young people doing their performances that they've created with you guys, and also always the Sprung's headline performance as well is always something else, it's something new. Is it going to make me cry? Yes, it usually is. It's heartfelt, and I think I love seeing the different school groups as well, because there's so much variety depending on where a young person has come from and what they're bringing to their performance. It's so different, and seeing the groups interact as well is also one of my most favourite things. That the inner city school kids that are a bit more streetwise, and then your grammar school kids from the countryside. They're quite different, but they find something that they're connected with, this creativity that's kind of brought them together into the same space, and they can experience it together. And I really love seeing that, both in and out of the theatre. Yeah. That's one of my favourite things every year.
I think this year felt like a particularly difficult creative challenge doing the physical fellowship, because we set ourselves the challenge of reimagining Homer's The Odyssey. Yeah. One of the most ancient and well-known texts, and there we were like, I know, let's do a whole week of performance based on the Odyssey. And I mean, let's just agree that every piece had a boat in it.
Islands. Do the Odyssey without at least one boat.
That's what I love though, because we did have some that were like either straight retellings, which was lovely to see because it was done through physical theatre, so it's always going to be different and creative. But then you also had complete retellings that were dragged into the modern day and had very, very different things. But yes, the theme throughout was boats. I liked it.
The boat. And I think the Sprung Advanced Plus piece this year, she kind of explored if we were talking about Sam's character in Simile, we then got to explore the other side of the coin, where we looked at women and women's voice in history or in storytelling or in their own storytelling, and we sort of followed the life of Helen of Troy post the war.
I could feel their eyes watching me, staring, but never making eye contact. So I covered my head, hiding my identity. but travelling alone is dangerous. Then, Paris, my one and only love, fell, bleeding, into my arms. I held him as he left me. The war is over, Helen. Your prayers are answered. This was not my wish. For Paris to die and for Troy to fall. This was not what I prayed for. You wish for the war to end and for Paris to be in your arms for one last time. If you look, you shall see. So this is a punishment for being your sister.
And explored what happened to her voice as she got older and the kind of the diminishing power that she had over her own story. And that became quite powerful for the young people to kind of be on that stage, that public platform, having a chance to tell their stories, and yet we're still experiencing that really strong message from our young people that they still feel unheard. So I think it kind of, for me, reminded me of the importance of the Physical Fellowship as a platform where young people can come, find their creativity and then share that with audiences and really say what they want to say. Because we don't create those pieces just us telling people what to do.
No, it's a co-creation.
Yeah.
Even in the school's work, I mean, it's a very intensive 2 days we get to work with them, but there's always that creative conversation between director and cast. I know that when we work with our Sprung groups, that's a much more kind of deep process.
I guess because we go into it with a plan, and to assume your plan's going to go the way it's going to go and how you planned it is very naive. So then when you go into it, you kind of have to go in with that element of this could completely change, and then whatever happens is whatever happens. And I think that's kind of the nice, even though that's a bit daunting, it's actually quite a nice side of it as well, because you might actually find something that you suddenly go, oh, I never even thought about it like this though, or we could do it this way, or maybe if you try that and then we can try this, and then actually you bring it together, and to see it come from a page into actual real life is always really nice. So.
And powerful.
Yeah, it comes back to people's opinions and people's readings of performance, and everyone has something different. I mean, a lot of that performance was inspired by something my mum said, and she went, in fact, this time last year, that she went off to a Christmas party, and then she walked into a room, and for the first time in her life she said that she felt ignored and she was invisible as an older woman. I mean, if my mum's listening to this, she's not an older woman, she's the queen. But
She is the queen.
she is, yeah. But the idea of what it is to be feminine, what it is to be female, and how other people perceive you, that was part of it. But then even when she came and she saw the show, she was then relating other bits of the news to other bits of the story, and it started whole conversations, and it was really, really interesting to think about that exciting germ of ideas and how people see things, especially within physical theatre, and how people read certain situations and how they bring their own experience and life experience with them. That then opens up those conversations, and I hope that, you know, the 300 plus kids who performed that week all had different conversations, and it's inspired them in some way or another.
Yeah, and here's to next year. More schools,
Woohoo!
more shows.
The biggest one ever.
I know, it's
Yeah.
going to be amazing. And, hello, going national. The Physical Fellowship is moving outside of Coventry, and we're going to test a model of it in another place in the
Sarah,
country.
you need to expand on this,
We're
because
gonna-
this is brand new information,
It is brand new
really.
information.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. We're going to take a model of Physical Fellowship down to North London, and we're going to work in collaboration with a university, Fourth Monkey Actor Training Company, and work with their students and local schools to put on a much more kind of condensed mini version of the Physical Fellowship, but just to really test whether the model works and whether young people and audiences have the same reaction as they do here in the Midlands, because we want to share the love.
Yeah.
We want to share the
It's
love.
too good not to share.
Yeah, and it's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's important for so many people. So, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we can do.
Sarah, do you have a highlight, a creative highlight of the year?
Of course I do.
Go on then, spill the beans.
I had what I think was quite an emotional... I've had very many emotional moments. I describe myself as someone, I'm not very emotional, I'm dead inside. And then at most performances, I'm the one standing at the back going... but
we were actually at a performance recently, and somebody in the audience, or it's in the cast, said, there was a lady in the audience just crying throughout the whole thing.
It wasn't the whole thing.
And it was Sarah, yeah.
It just gets me in the heart. But one of those moments was when I had the opportunity to go and see Grow, and we redeveloped Grow this year. So originally it was made to go inside an inflatable dome, which was brilliant and we loved it, but actually touring with an inflatable dome had its own issues. Our dome was called Doris, and in the end Doris was getting on our nerves. We loved her, but she was a hot, sweaty, heavy old thing.
Yes, she was.
And we did have a few teachers who came out of the dome going, well, that was magical, but I'm very, very hot.
It's June, 26 degrees.
And the performers, I don't know how you did it, but you did. So we decided this year we would take Grow out of the dome and redevelop it to be an outdoor show for early years children. And already it was one of my favourite shows, but then to kind of reimagine it and see it out in nature when it's all about celebrating nature was just so beautiful.
What a lovely flower. You love that flower, don't you?
And there was a particular performance that I went to see where we performed at a Coventry family hub, and we really weren't sure how it was going to go because it was a brand new relationship that we'd just established with this brilliant family hub. And we got there and we went into their little backyard playground, set up the performance, and we were thinking, no one is going to come. Who's going to get out here to see this show? And it was 5-2 and no one was there, and we were thinking, we're just going to have to pack up and go home. And then all of a sudden the doors opened and out spilled all of these families with their orange squash and biscuits, and some of them had bought lunch boxes and picnics, and they sat down on the floor, and I don't think many of them spoke much English, and I think a lot of them were very newly arrived families to the city, and they came and they sat, and it was just this beautiful generous exchange of, we're here to just enjoy what you're bringing to the space. And the relationship between the performers and the audience, it was just such joyful, simple, non-verbal happiness through dance and movement, and the children were so invested. It's a story where the characters break a flower, and the children want the flower to be fixed, and the characters are going on a journey to try and find out how to fix the flower. And the children, there were some of them who I think were maybe 2 years old, who were just pointing at the flower, fix it. And it was just really magical, and just made me feel the true power of the arts, in that it is a relationship between performer and audience that I think you don't get to recreate anywhere else.
And I think it is a conversation that transcends language.
Yeah.
Because especially I remember in that particular performance, there was a little girl, she was so excited, and we were saying, what are we going to do? How are we going to fix the flower? All through our gestures. And she got out a little pen, and she ran onto stage, remember, and she was trying to give it to us, and we were like, oh, thank you. And there was the whole backpack, have my backpack. We were like, okay, great. She's just trying to incorporate that into the narrative too. But they wanted to be involved, they wanted to help and give to us too. They wanted to be part of the gang.
And it's
It was
nice.
really nice.
It's nice to create performance where that can happen.
Yeah.
Where you're not saying,
Just come
no,
to the stage."
sit down, your seat,
Yeah.
row 1,
Yeah.
seat A. That actually it's
Bring
bring
your
it.
backpack, let's go.
Yeah. What should we do, guys? So yeah.
That's part of that blurring of the borders and boundaries of theatre and performance. And I think there was one performance I came to where there was one child who was so desperate to come up, and after the initial ushering off and okay nods, the kid was just on all the time and would just dance with you, and it was just brilliant.
His big trainers.
Yeah.
So cute.
I think that's the beautiful thing about Grow, and a lot of the shows that we do is that we don't talk down to children. Like, there's some quite complicated concepts in it. You know, it's talking about pollution, it's talking about littering, but there's a lot going on because we know that actually they are taking it all in, and they might not talk about it immediately, but a week later they go, oh yes, we need to look after the planet because of Grow, and it makes me a bit cross when I see things where they don't give children that benefit of the doubt that actually they can take all this information in, and I think more children's theatre should be like Highly Sprung's children's theatre.
Thanks, Zoe.
Oh.
You should work for us.
She's the governess.
Mark,
Yes.
what was your creative highlight?
So because I am that guy,
What guy?
I'm that guy.
That guy?
My highlight of
Show
this year.
your face.
My
Tell your
highlight.
face. Oh my gosh, I got it right. Show your face.
Shut your face.
I will get us back on track. My highlight of 2025 started 10 years ago.
Right.
Oh, here we go.
There's
There's a story. There's a story.
I told you. So 10 years ago, or maybe 11 years ago now, we made a show called Urban Astronaut, and one of the very first festival we ever did was Stockton International Riverside Festival, and it was incredible. Even just then, it was just, I remember it so well. It was amazing. And then we toured it for 8 years, put it to bed, but then in 2025 we performed at Stockton again, but we didn't just perform Castaway, which is the second part of the trilogy. We performed both Castaway and Accelerate, and it was the most amazing weekend where I very openly said, you know, Castaway is the second part of the trilogy. First one was Urban Astronaut. We performed here and this year and blah blah blah, and people came up and they said, I was there for that. I saw that, and my daughter was 6 years old, and look at her now, and she was as tall as me almost. She was 16 years old, and all of a sudden that journey said, we're coming back on Sunday to watch Accelerate. And honestly, the crowds were absolutely out of this world and just amazing. And you couldn't see the shops that were surrounding us because there were just people and throngs of people.
But what I loved for me, because I was in Stockton as well, which was really amazing, is that those audiences weren't the kind of audiences that I think you'd bump into in theatres necessarily.
No.
They were just people who were there in their local community, and what was amazing is that they were there because the city is Stockton a city? Town, place that
Stockton.
it's invested in arts and creativity and given the community an appetite for it. So when they find out that there's something on, they are going to be there and they are going to sit and they are going to tell you what they think of it. Luckily they really loved it. But it was, again, amazing, like huge numbers of people who were like there early, 15 minutes before we were even going to show, sitting down, ready, you know, wanting to see. And I think that was a really special moment. We both spoke about a lot about the power of outdoor arts and the power in investing in audiences across the long term.
Yeah, because they were really experienced art audiences with like a really refined like art palette, and you don't see that. You can't generalise that across all of England, because in those kind of places that experience deprivation in the way that Stockton does, you don't see that. So it was amazing. It was amazing to have those conversations. It just felt magical. You're right.
Yeah, it was great.
But they've grown up with it.
Yeah,
you know,
that's how it should be.
Yeah.
Integrated. It's completely.
It's part of the fabric and the DNA of that city and town, and I think that's where the magic is.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just artists coming in parachuting in. Every single one of the audience members knew the value of that art, and some of it was really, really arty, and some of it was really, really crazy. We saw 6 guys jumping over buildings and climbing down the side of the buildings, and
that was amazing.
Yeah, it was incredible. And then we saw a a woman around our age dressed up as a baby in her baby's high chair.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
I think I might have cried at Stockton as well. I think I definitely did. I think there was a little carnival and I came over to the team and I was like, I just think the arts is so magical.
Exactly what you said. It was a little kids' procession, wasn't
I know,
it?
it just got me. It was so good. I loved it.
Yeah.
It was a really
amazing.
good one.
Well, I think it's fair to say 2025 has been an amazing year.
We've seen some other parts of the world as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't believe we looked back at the year. We started the beginning of February. We were in Vietnam.
Yes, we were.
That was incredible,
Hanoi.
and made the most incredible piece of work with brilliant young people from
Such
across the
brilliant
world.
People. Yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing that weekend.
Yeah, that was a very, very special one. Making an hour-long show in 2 days with
The most
Was it-
dedicated
yeah.
group of
Brilliant.
people ever.
90 young people. It was just
And
mind-blowing.
we felt so respected
Yeah.
and so valued
They were
in a
so
way
on board with us.
that I was like, this is what every young person deserves.
Yeah.
I want to see this in every school
Yeah.
across the planet.
Yeah.
Highly Sprung doing a show.
Yes,
Yeah.
just
Every
us.
school on the planet.
Yeah.
We're going to be busy.
In fact, that's our plan for next year. Here's the business plan.
But then just very recently, we were lucky enough to be in Singapore.
I was so privileged to be the artistic director on the festival. It has been amazing to be part of the creative process and to see the young people be so generous in their devising.
And working again with so many talented young
Yeah.
people. But again, that investment, we're talking about investment a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And the investment that they had in that school, there were 2 different theatres, one for 350 seats, one for 750 seats. And, you know, that the young people, when they're on that stage, or those stages, they realise the honour that it is to be on that
But
stage
it's
performing.
more than just the spaces. It's more than the spaces. It's about a culture of embedding creativity as part of young people's lives. And it completely changes how they view the world and how they view themselves and how they view each other. And I think that's what we fight for, and that is what we champion every day in our work, that every young person deserves the chance to experience that, the power that creativity brings to their lives.
I don't think anyone's going to argue with that. So we're going
I
to
might cry.
end the year the way we started it.
Christmas tears.
I think I've
ripped
actually
it.
cried on 3 podcasts so far.
So thank you.
But I'm really dead inside.
Not true.
Thank you, everyone. It's been a joy to work with you, and I can't wait to work with you in 2026.
Yeah,
And,
big year.
uh,
It's a big year.
Makes it even not a big
And hopefully a second series of Where's the Effing Creativity?
I was going to say it then.
Okay.
Where's the effing... Oh, never mind.
I was ready to go.
Yeah.
What's our effing creativity today?
Festive!
Woo!
And with that, shall we wish everyone a very
Merry Christmas!
Happy Christmas!
Happy Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
I'm going to have some of those later, some Happy Christmas crisps.
Can you put jingle bells over the credit?
Yes.
Jingle, jingle, jingle!
Okay, we're going to stop now.
Bye!
Bye, bye, bye.
Where's the effing creativity?